Hey, so the following video is just a basic little after lesson session review that I generally send out with the V1 coaching app after lessons. This one's a little bit broad. Normally they're very case specific to the golfer's needs, but it's a little preview of what you get generally when you should after a lesson. I'll send through a little video of what to practice and how to practice it to help with the practice. There's little P's. But it just helps along the journey, so in between lessons you don't get confused or less confused, and you can kind of open it up and review before you practice. What am I going to work on today? How am I going to improve? So here's a little preview of one I've done. It's a real basic one just on ball position, how to kind of get set up, the correct distance from the golf ball, and how you change your foot position dependent on the club. Go ahead, have a look, watch it, comment on it. If you like it, subscribe and like. And I'll slowly but surely be sharing more and more of my secrets, shall we say, as we go along, especially once the old golf studio that I'm building is complete. It's not too far away now. Talk soon.
Good morning. So here we're going to run through the couple of important little bits and pieces as far as distance from the golf ball, a little setup routine, ball position placement depending on club usage, and maybe a little bit on actual sequencing as well. So number one, when it comes to setting up to the golf ball, we're just going down the line here for a start. So you can see how before you do any movement, the start position for every club should be in a nice, feet are together here, a nice relaxed, somewhat tall posture with my preference is the arms just hanging somewhat relaxed, not too much stretchy, just so you're nice and as tall as you can be with a nice relaxed posture. Obviously there is going to be some tilt from the hip area. You're not going to be bent too much from the knees. You'll be more tilted from the hips. And it's just a good solid posture. That's our start position. Now we'll flick to face on in that same position I just was. And now we're going to do that little routine we've talked about. So at setup, obviously, I'm in that same posture as you saw down the line. And the top of the grip is going to be in line pretty much with the ball. So there's a little bit of forward shaft lean appearing there. Then I'm going to have this little left foot step. And now remember that left foot step is pretty much the same. You can see how the left foot rotates open. Doesn't go square, rotates a little open. It's going to be the same for pretty much every club. Okay? And then depending on the length of club, the trail foot moves. So right here, there would be a good setup position for a low chip and run shot onto the green, okay? And then a little foot movement here is, well, that's going to be obviously my 7-iron. But now we're going to revert back to that. This all here, that's going to be a low chip and run, or a pitch kind of, a low pitch. A high pitch, which we'll get to, is a slightly different specific shot. It'll be a little bit forward in the position, but that will be the width of stance for my short shots. This will be the width of stance from my sort of mid-irons, maybe even a hybrid shot. Notice how this situation here isn't going to change too much from the short shot to the medium shot to then this is driver. And you can see obviously with driver there's an obvious adjustment there. Trail foot drops a long way back and you can see how much my head moves back, which dramatically changes my low point, which when we get to that point of worrying about it, really helps me hit much more up on the golf ball to maximize my distance. But we'll get to that when we worry about it. But right now, obviously, we're just talking about set up for a short shot, set up for a mid-length shot, and set up for a much longer shot. So just remembering that short, medium, long. Okay? And as you can see there, hands position, ball position, does not change. Obviously, distance from the golf ball is adjusted by the length of the club shaft, not by me moving my hands further away or anything. All right, so obviously here we'll go back to me just hitting a 7-iron. So you can see here it's just slightly, certainly narrower than the short shot setup, but it's not super wide like the driver. And obviously a couple other little things we're doing there. You can see that left foot is a little open, as we spoke about. Right foot's also a little open. Ball position, as we've spoken about, is in line with the heart. Top of the grip's in line there. So that's very much the ball position stuff. The only other little bits and pieces we have spoken about and are working towards, as you can see here, I'll draw a little line on my right hip and something up through my left ankle, knee and hip and left shoulder there. And maybe even something through my spine without too many angles going on. And we'll just cruise back in a little swing here. We can start to see some little movement patterns going on. As you can see, when we get to the top, that right hip hasn't swayed an awful lot, has it? It's just mainly rotated. My spine is still pretty much in the same axis it was. As we get forward, that was that forward shift we talk about. So the hips haven't rotated an awful lot open, but I've got my legs right back up on top of the ball before. So halfway down, I'm already nicely up on top of that golf ball. I haven't moved away from it, which obviously enables me to create that all-important forward shaft lean at impact. So I'm hitting the ball first, then the ground, which obviously allows me to launch the ball consistently on a good angle with a central strike. And then there'll be the inevitable release of the club into a nice balanced finish. All right, hope that all makes sense, and I look forward to catching up soon.